Hello, my name is Shannon Neufeldt. I'm grateful to be speaking to you today from Takaranto, from land governed by the dish with one spoon, wampum. Thank you for the invitation to come as a KAIROS representative. I appreciate this moment to be with you, even if it is across the miles. I'll be reflecting today on the scripture from Ezekiel 37. My friends, there are few things as grim as the image of a valley of dry bones. That visceral scene, heaps of bone upon bone, invokes death most certainly, but also a sense of desecration. It reminds me of the devastating harm we can do to one another, our human capacity to violate dignity even beyond death. We might think of Rwanda or Darfur, or the unmarked graves of children who died at residential schools in Canada. Today, I can't help drawing a line to the deaths denied dignity in Italy, caskets piling up in churches, convoys of army trucks carrying bodies to be burned. Touchstones in ancient and modern history are too numerous to recount. The horror of this image is palpable, but the poem doesn't end there. Suddenly there was a noise, a rattling, and then bones knit together with sinews, flesh and skin cover them, breath and spirit flow into them. They lived and stood on their feet, a vast multitude. I will put my spirit within you, that you shall live, and I shall place you on your own soil. For the prophet Ezekiel, there is something about our God that is present in desolation. There is something about our God that is bringing life and possibility and home even in the bleakest and most despairing time. There is something in the heart of our God that offers impossible hope. The message is clear. Accompaniment is God's language. Transformation is God's signature. No matter how bleak, how hard, how impossible, new life, justice, peace, dignity can break through. My friends, God is with us. That is the message of the biblical witness, and that is the message of our time. God did not cause this current crisis of unimaginable proportion, but God is present in it. And we need to find her. God is with us. In my work at KAIROS, I am honored to know people who are the teachers of this truth. Sometimes we talk about accompanying them, churches in the Philippines, indigenous leaders in Guatemala, women human rights defenders in the West Bank, water defenders in Canada. And yet, it is at best mutual, and most times about their accompaniment of us. Through the clarity of their witness, they show us what it means to show up for people and the earth at risk. What it means to be present, to really abide with those who pay the price of injustice. They teach us what it means to hope, to believe that things can be different, to believe that with their actions, with their advocacy, sometimes at the risk of their lives. This week we learned that Carlota Salinas was murdered in Colombia. She was an advocate for poor women, helping those denied government assistance to find work and food in this crisis. Despite a so-called peace, Colombia continues a paramilitary war on human rights defenders. And in this pandemic, the paramilitary are not cancelled. They seem unabated, as they target people now more confined to their homes. Carlotta was part of the Organización Femenina Popular, a group of tireless advocates for the rights of women and children in Colombia, and a KAIROS partner organization. I know that they will do everything they can to be present to Carlotta's family and friends in this terrible time of grief. Even from a necessary distance, they will show up. They will abide, testifying to the possibility that one day there could be real peace and protection of human rights defenders. They have already issued a public call for justice for Carlotta, advocating at great risk to themselves. For them, despair is not an option, only impossible hope shown through actions of profound solidarity. And we will stand with them, shout with them, Carlotta, presente. My friends, we are called to show up, to abide, even if it is words of encouragement across a phone line, or a message scrawled on the street in chalk, or talking to an elder through how to use Zoom. We are called to show up for each other with groceries left at the door, or masks made at home on a dusty sewing machine. To show up online when communities face racist hate because of this virus. To show up to our government when refugees or migrants are denied fundamental rights. To show up for each other, and most certainly for the most vulnerable in this time. As we move towards Easter, let us breathe in the spirit that rattled those dry bones towards life. Let's believe with Ezekiel in the God whose very heart is transformation. I will put my spirit within you that you shall live. Amen.